And I think the best of the more widespread sunshine will be Saturday morning, as we head towards Saturday lunchtime and into Sunday, this rain will spread in from the north and west, and it's going to linger through much of the weekend across northwestern areas. So we do have some quite long-lived warnings in force for parts of Western Scotland, Northern Ireland, North Wales later on in the weekend, as well as northwestern England, Cumbria in particular. Further south and east, though, it's going to be actually a pretty dry weekend, and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Saturday. But there is an amber warning in force for the likes of Cumbria for Sunday and into Monday. We could see in excess of 200 millimetres build up through the course of 48 hours or so. So with warnings in force, we are expecting disruption. Flooding is likely as well in some areas. So please stay tuned to the forecast. It does stay unsettled into next week as well. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome along to Patrick Christys' Night Late Edition. Let's find out what is going on in Saturday's newspaper front pages. Christmas cheer for the King as he reveals that his cancer treatment is going well and he's urging Brits to get life-saving treatment. I've got exactly what the King said earlier on today in a historic broadcast for you, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also,
we'll continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
We've had another set of Epstein photos released, and I'm going to show those to you. Bad news for Bill Clinton. I'll be honest with you, from the ones I've seen of Trump, I don't really see what the problem is, because he appears to just be surrounded by women who appear to be of legal age and not that close to Epstein, but anyway. And also Andrew, formerly known as Prince. Again, not a great look for him. Also...
Man said, yo, that man's grabbing everything today, you know.
Well, the head of the Met Police is now blaming the shops themselves for the shoplifting tidal wave. As Sir Mark Rowley says, they need to do more. Also...
The Prime Minister might call this an island of strangers. When Farage says jump, Labour might say how high.
Right, so now the Green Party leader, Zach Polanski, is in Calais as he accuses the Prime Minister and Nigel Farage of pushing racist rhetoric. He says... let all the people come in and let them work straight away as well. I think we'll talk about that. Joining us this evening is journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee. We've also got broadcasting royalty Christo Foufas and the Labour MP Barry Gardner. But first, let's get those latest headlines with Sophia Wensler.
Patrick, thank you. Your headlines at 11:02. The King has shared a personal message revealing good news that his cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year and urging people to get checked. His message was broadcast this evening in support of Stand Up to Cancer, a joint campaign by Cancer Research UK and Channel 4.
Indeed, today I am able to share with you the good news that thanks to early diagnosis, effective intervention and adherence to doctors' orders, my own schedule of cancer treatment can be reduced in the new year. This milestone is both a personal blessing and a testimony to the remarkable advances that have been made in cancer care in recent years.
In other news, the Democrats have just released the second batch of Epstein photos within hours. The pictures from earlier feature many recognisable faces, including Bill Clinton, Bill Gates and Donald Trump. However, it's being reported a spokesperson for the Republican-led Oversight Committee has criticised the Democrats for today's release, accusing them of cherry-picking photos and making targeted redactions to create a false narrative about President Trump. There is no suggestion that these pictures imply any wrongdoing of those featured. Back in the UK, Sir Keir Starmer has held talks with the Belgian Premier at number 10 on the prospect of using frozen Russian assets to help Ukraine to fund its defence. Britain has said it is ready to move together with the EU to unlock the Russian assets, the vast majority of which are held in Belgium. This has led to Brussels resisting so far, fearing they are most at risk if the plan goes wrong. And shops must do more to stop shoplifting. That's a message from the head of Britain's biggest police force. In an interview with The Telegraph, Sir Mark Rowley cited corrupt security and retailers refusing to share CCTV. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner said retailers were justified in criticising police forces 2 years ago for failing to do enough to tackle the rocketing rates of shoplifting. They were right to say to us, please stop up more, he said. And now we have done that and they need to step up more. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
OK, let's get you Saturday's newspaper front pages. There is a theme on the front pages, but I promise you we're going to do more as well from what's inside the book. But the sun, strong to reign over us. This is the King's cancer message. The Mirror, my good news. So King Charles says that his treatment can be reduced and he offers hope to others. The Independent, King Charles, I was overwhelmed by my cancer diagnosis. And this points to a man who was pretty stoic in public, but behind the scenes, of course, was rocked. Their picture story, though, on The Independent is of new Epstein-related pictures. We have got them, and we will show them to you. There's some incredibly disturbing stuff in there, including a girl who appears to be unconscious, and it's grim stuff. But anyway, the Daily Express, good news by sticking to doctors' orders. One of the things that King Charles said is that he stuck to the doctor's orders and his cancer, well, I don't want to say it's improved, but his treatment has been reduced. So there we go. The Times. King shares good news on cancer treatment, so they go for that story as well. And this is in relation to a historic address that the King made earlier today. The Mail, Christmas cheer for King Charles in his cancer fight. He says, it's a bit of a B word, isn't it? That was the King's characteristically understated response to his diagnosis, as revealed by the Daily Mail's royal editor. So there we are. And the Telegraph, good news about my cancer. It's also, obviously, the King there. But as ever with the Daily Telegraph, they carry several different stories on their front page. For the life of me, I don't know why other newspapers don't do this, but the Telegraph, you know, make hay while the sun shines, because it allows them to get more stuff on there, and for me makes it a really quality front page. New photographs in Epstein files released. Flu vaccines came in too late, say scientists. There's a story we're going to bring to you shortly, though. For all of this talk of the flu epidemic and the hoo-ha and everything, it turns out that less than half of NHS staff have got the flu jab, despite this virus tidal wave. So that gives us something to talk about there. The Eye, urgent NHS drive to give children the flu vaccine before Christmas. Well, that's related, isn't it? If you're thinking about giving children a flu vaccine before Christmas. My son, by the way, has just had the old 7-in-1 thing and the dose of norovirus under the tongue and all of that stuff. It's pretty horrific having to give the kids that, but obviously, you know, you do it for them. And you're topping them up with flu jabs as well. I don't know, maybe more NHS staff should be getting it, if that's the message, maybe, but we'll talk about that. The Guardian, doctors' strike during the flu crisis is beyond belief, says the Prime Minister. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, isn't it? Quite interesting, though, that the Eye, Weekend and the Guardian, two of what you describe as maybe the, you know, two of the left-wing papers. Certainly, the Guardian don't have. Yeah, they've not. Neither of them have gone big on the King, whereas the others have gone big on the King. I don't know what that maybe says about where they're at. You know, in terms of
what the Independent has.
The Eye Weekend.
Oh, the Eye.
Weekend. I mean, to be fair, they have got the picture of the King there in the top left. But yeah. Right, OK, let's go to the panel. We're obviously going to start with the King. Now, again, I will say this to you. Yeah. There are some broadcasting restrictions on what you're allowed to do when it comes to footage of the royal family. Some of that is that you're only allowed to play what was said in full with no editing, unless it's a news bulletin, like you just heard from Sophia. We're not going to play you the full, 10-minute clip, because then, you know, we're not going to have time to discuss it. But I think you all get the gist. We'll start with... We'll just start with any of them. Let's cycle through the front pages that are King-related, please. The Telegraph goes for good news about my cancer. King reveals he's scaling back his treatment as he urges more to take up screening. Christo.
I mean, what's interesting, I think, about these headlines about what's not being said. So the Mail is talking about how he hasn't used the word remission and confirmed that His Majesty had responded exceptionally well to treatment. Medical intervention will continue for the foreseeable future, but doctors have advised that it will move to a precautionary phase and its regularity will be significantly reduced. So he is still having treatment. He is not cured. He is not in remission. Yep. It's just a better picture than was there before.
No one ever really talks about cancer being cured. They deliberately don't use that word.
That's true.
Ever. But I'm surprised they didn't use the word remission, because that's the word that most medics would use, that he is now 1 year into remission, and they talk about survival rates.
Yeah. So it may be that...
Not in remission.
It's still there and growing, but slowly, and therefore they don't think it's likely to be the fatal cause of when he eventually dies.
Yeah, OK. Well, I mean, I get what we're all saying. Let's not be too speculative about the King's cancer, obviously. I mean, I suppose the message, the broad message here is get checked. Yeah. So he made the point that there are 9 million people, supposedly, in Britain who have access to some form of cancer screening. Now, I'm assuming that might be largely women who have access to mammograms. Probably to men of a certain age about certain things. I don't know, but the point is, he was saying that actually there's not a big uptake on that, and he made the case with bowel cancer, which is apparently if you have an early diagnosis,
very successful.
There's a much better success rate than
if you catch bowel cancer at stage 1, 2, and 3. They can have incredible success with those patients. But you remember Bowel Babe, Deborah James, who was made a dame, wasn't she, just before she died? I knew her and I talked to her a bit. She used to live where I lived. And she only went to the doctor when she was at stage 4.
Yeah.
And they opened her up and she came round and they said 18 months.
I just to put a personal tone into this, my father died of cancer when I was 8.
Right.
He was 53 years of age. My mother died of cancer when I was 17, and she was 59 years of age. And then my sister died of cancer, and she was 51.
Wow.
So, was it all the same type of cancer?
It wasn't. It was different. But in each case, if they had got an earlier diagnosis. My sister, by the time she went to the doctor, she had a grade 4 melanoma.
Oh,
that's it.
That was it, right? With my mother, she was a doctor, ironically, and she just paid no attention to her symptoms. She went in for a hysterectomy and, but what I wanted to get across was even if you think, oh, I'm all right, I'll just soldier on and not bother, think of your family. It's not just you that you're doing it for. You're doing it for your partner. You're doing it for your family. There are other people who want you to live.
Yeah, it's really powerful, Barry. I'm, obviously just incredibly sorry for the trauma that you've been through there, but that is the point, right? And you do have to do this for other people as much as yourself sometimes, don't you? I think really.
I think it would have been such a on that note. I wonder whether, and maybe I don't know. It would have been a great win, wouldn't it, if they could have announced actually in conjunction with this. You know what, we're going to bring out. Prostate screening. You can't call for prostate screening because that would be getting involved in politics. But I wonder whether...
Yeah, but I think fair enough for that.
Yeah, it would have been, but I think you would have got the same naysayers. But wouldn't it have been brilliant if in conjunction with Downing Street, you could have said, as part of this news, we're going to bring in mandatory testing, because I think they're going to anyway.
They couldn't do it today because it would have been using the royalty to promote your politics. But I hope that Keir Starmer will then come out and say, we've just seen how important this is. Now let's do it.
Yeah, just a word on the front of the Independent, actually. I don't know if I'm able to bring that up, but it is King Charles saying, I was overwhelmed by my cancer diagnosis. Look, at times I have been quite critical of the King over certain things. I don't make any apology over that at all. But this is, I think, a message that there are certain things that affect us all, no matter what you're born into, no matter what your views are on anything, no matter, it's a great leveller, isn't it, this? And how you feel about it as well. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't go and get checked is because they're scared of the news and they're scared of how they'll feel, right? And they don't want to deal with that. And I can understand that, absolutely. I mean, I would feel the same way. I completely understand that. But, the King was rocked by his diagnosis. You can only imagine what was going on behind closed doors. But the point is, he did it, he got diagnosed.
I think it's quite useful that he says something like, I was overwhelmed by my diagnosis, because that's quite an emotional thing to say. And that resonates with people because they feel scared too. I think Kate has said some similar things as well, and people are encouraged by that. I think it gives them courage to go forward.
Yeah. Right. OK. Well, look, we are going to move on here, actually. Obviously, the front pages are awash with the King's announcement, historic announcement coming out, very personal announcement. Let's move ourselves on. Now, this won't be on the front page of any newspapers, not just because of the King's news, but because it's only just been announced about 3 hours ago. But the Green Party leader is in Calais, or certainly was in Calais, and he did some quite interesting things there, actually, and he tweeted about it. I might be able to bring up the tweet, but Zach Polanski has gone to Calais, done some things in terms of helping to fill up like water coolers for them and all of that stuff. But then, crucially, he's now come out and said he thinks that all of them should be allowed to Britain and they should all be allowed to work immediately. So, you know, if we just analyse what we know about the Green Party policy so far, I believe it's the decriminalisation of all drugs, including crack and heroin. The abolish landlords?
Yeah, as Zia Youssef very famously said on Question Time, and I'm sort of paraphrasing, but, you know, you could, under green policy, you could take a load of smack but not rent out your flat.
Yeah,
which is absolutely balmy.
Essentially, yeah, I mean, nuts. But now it is, I mean, it's full-blown open borders in this sense, under Zach Polanski as well, Christopher.
And also, like, what I don't understand about that is that the Green Party claim to want to hammer billionaires and sort of, you know, level the playing field for working people who are struggling and bring back hope to those communities. But if you allow a load of people who will come in and do unskilled labour, well, then that will clearly undermine the wages of the very people that he claims he wants to help. And that's a real contradiction, I think, in their policy, because these people aren't probably going to be coming in and doing really high-paid jobs. It's going to be big corporations that benefit from that.
There's a huge blind spot here for Zach Polanski as well, I would suggest, which is that Zach Polanski's been, you know, very open about his own sexuality. He's a gay man, he's in a relationship. OK. There will be a lot of people in those Calais camps who come from countries where it's, illegal and indeed punishable by death if you are gay. And I do contend that a lot of those people will not have changed those views once they set foot on British soil. So I can't help but wonder whether or not Zach Polanski has really thought this one through.
I think what I know of Zach Polanski is that my observation is that he could indeed become a very consequential politician. But everyone describes him as this great communicator. But I don't think he's a very good communicator at all. I think he doesn't think about the audience he's talking to, and I don't think he measures his words enough. And for that reason, I think that he's quite a dangerous politician, and particularly to younger voters.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I've just read a tweet here from Zia Youssef, the, what is he now, the Reform Chairman? Head of Policy. Head of Policy at Reform. He's just put up a picture of Zach Polanski with Treason Act 1351, to be adherent to the king's enemies in his realm, giving to them aid and comfort in the realm or elsewhere. Do you think it's quite treasonous what Zach Polanski's doing?
No, I mean, Zia Youssef is hyperbole is not yet dead. Let's put it that way. No, this is ridiculous. But look, I don't have much time for Zach Polanski.
Why not out of interest? Because there's some people watching this. I get that, you know, we have political discussions all the time. But some people might assume that you've got some areas of crossover with
I don't have much time. There are Green politicians that I do have time for. Ellie Chowns, who actually ran against Polanski for the leadership, I think is a very sound, sensible woman. And she, when she speaks in Parliament, she actually speaks with knowledge and authority, and I've got great respect for her. He doesn't. Well, he's not in Parliament either. And long may that be the case. But he undoubtedly does communicate, and I think probably Linda and I are the wrong end of the age spectrum to
but I've got three kids who are in the right generation.
But I think he does communicate better with younger people. But it's for precisely the reasons that you say. He doesn't weigh his words and the consequences of them, and we have for far too long seen what happens when politicians don't weigh the consequences of them.
But it's interesting, when you see the polling data on what Green Party voters think about illegal immigration and when people should be deported and who should be allowed to Britain, he's not even with them on this. The Green Party used to be about, well, like green issues,
policies,
the environment, you know, like wind farms and all of that stuff. You know, don't build a new runway anywhere. Well, now he's talking about crack cocaine, landlords, and letting every bursting in from Calais.
But he's seen his moment of opportunity, particularly with younger voters. He really has. And he will be consequential. And there is a lot of talk, particularly today, that a deal could be struck with between the Labour Party and the Green Party. I've listened to it all the way in on the radio.
What it is the sixth...
Over my dead body.
It's the sixth form policies that we're seeing from some of Labour, actually, but on speed. The speed which would clearly be legalised.
Yes,
the landscape. There'll be a lot of that speed. But it is that. It's this sort of student activism politics, all wealthier, older people, bad, young people who can't get on the property ladder, good. You know, if you're earning a decent salary, bad. If you are someone who needs, more state help, good. And it's so basic. And what my fear is that I think you're right, that it's ticking boxes with young people which aren't perhaps going to solve the problems that those young people face, and they're going to think it's a silver bullet.
Yeah.
Abolishing landlords is going to make rents higher, but younger people who are like, well, yeah, we hate landlords, they're going to think brilliant.
But that's what you get when you go into black and white politics.
Yeah,
when everything is either right or wrong, and when you pretend that there's no grey area and diffuseness.
I like a grey area. I like a gay area.
Right.
Wow.
Can I move to somebody who I think is consequential and who's no longer with us, and that's Joanna Trollope.
Oh, yes.
Okay, because she died this week, and apparently her sales around the world were 10 million.
Yes.
So 10 million people have read what this woman
This is on the
developed.
front
Front of the Times. Yeah.
Times.
She's got a very, big picture on the front of the Times.
Did she used to do a bit of a bonk buster? Was it that sort of thing?
I don't know that she was quite the Jilly Cooper, but she certainly did do
sort of the vicar's wife having an affair kind of thing.
Well, one of them was called A Village Affair, the other one was called A Vicar's Wife.
I didn't know that.
Right.
That was the genre.
OK. All right, well, look, thank you for raising that. Right, OK, we've got a lot more coming your way. Coming up, we've got a bit of this.
We have nothing to do with Epstein, the Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats.
Well, there has been another big release of these Epstein files, more pictures. We've got the pictures. I will show them to you. We're also going to be talking about another story that's on the front pages, which is that children are being told to now get the flu vaccine, get the flu jab, get the flu jab. Well, it's just emerged that more than half of NHS staff haven't had the flu jab, despite this tidal wave. So what do you make of that? All of that coming away.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Now, funeral directors have warned that coffins are becoming too large to be cremated as Britain's obesity crisis simply balloons. Wider caskets, extra pallbearers and bigger furnaces are now being used, with the industry saying that the rising size of the population is creating serious challenges. Well, experts now predict an estimated 3.3 million cases of adult excess weight by 2040, and it's having a huge impact on the funeral director's business. Let's speak to one now. I'm joined by the funeral director, Lee Solomon. Lee, thanks for joining us on the show. So people are now becoming too fat to fry, and you've had to come up with a novel solution to this problem.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a novel solution. If someone comes into our care and they are a larger person, then we do get a larger coffin manufactured for them. So when they come into our care, one of the first things that we do is we measure the size of our residents. And if they are a larger person, we do what we class as a bariatric coffin, which is a larger size coffin, which we get made to measure for them. If a family comes into our care and says, oh, we want our loved one to have their service at Yardley, but they're larger than 29 inches, they'd have to have their service at Yardley brought back into our care, taken to Sutton, where the cremation would happen.
So supersized coffins are sent to Sutton because they can fit into the crematorium. Am I correct in saying, Lee Solomon, that sometimes you've bolted two coffins together to get one supersized cadaver inside?
We've never gone to. I've never done that myself. I don't know about other funeral directors, but we get all of our coffins manufactured to the size of the person, so they're made to measure.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Right, welcome back to Late Edition. It's the first look at Saturday's newspaper front pages, and this is going to be inside a lot of them. In fact, it is on the front of the Independent as well. More Epstein files and pictures have been released. 19 new images as part of a 95,000 photo expose. Former President Bill Clinton is there with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. President Trump is with a group of women in it, which, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He used to host beauty pageants, didn't he?
Can I just say, I mean, the one of Bill Clinton looks to me like it's a stock photo with the president. You know, you go up, you have your photo taken because it's got that thing in the background. It doesn't look like an informal setting, whereas the one next to it, where Epstein and Clinton and this woman are, I think is much more a sort of
social thing.
Social thing.
Well, we'll keep working through. So there's also one with Epstein and the filmmaker Woody Allen.
Well.
But also Woody Allen has been photographed. Can I just point out with this one now? Keep this on the screen, please. Keep this on the screen because all right. Can we go back to that one, please? Epstein not with Richard Branson. That was one with Steve Bannon, the one that was on the screen before. I don't know if I'll be able to get that up. Okay, apparently not. Anyway, but the one thing that was concerning about that one, as when we do bring that back up, was that apart from all of it, obviously, was that there's a picture on a laptop which appears to show that a young woman unconscious on a sofa, which is like a picture on a laptop that's there. That, right? Now, can we hold that there? Yeah, right, great. So there's obviously, you've got the computer screen to the right, but then there's another computer screen which you'll see in kind of directly in front of Jeffrey Epstein. And on that picture there, people at home should be able to see this, is a picture of what would appear to be a scantily clad woman who looks as though she's unconscious on a sofa.
And who is
Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon, who's looking at the picture?
Well, the picture is there and it's in front of Epstein.
Epstein, yeah.
It's difficult. I mean, obviously, we don't know what the kind of thing is. Is that actually like a permanent fixture? Is it just there? I don't know. It's
could
weird.
Be this screensaver.
Well, yes, that's the thing. It's very, very, very odd.
Dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah, massively dodgy.
All of it is.
So look, you've seen a lot of those pictures there. So that's the latest one. Yeah.
Oh, the hell's that?
Just Epstein in a bath. I mean. Yeah, I mean, some of these obviously just like are pictures of Epstein, aren't they? I mean, so it's like, you know, but certainly the one with the.
But why do you actually have a photograph of yourself in a bath?
Well, I don't know. I mean, by the way, I'm not about to go into bat for Jeffrey Epstein here, but yeah, there are like. You know, people do take like holiday pictures, don't they, of themselves? I don't know. Well, not. I don't know.
In a bath?
I don't know why there's a picture of Epstein in a bath, Linda. I've got no idea. I don't know.
Don't come on holiday with me. You'll be very bored indeed.
You'd be very welcome to come on holiday with me.
All right, Christo. All right.
That's all it took.
But anyway, so the US Democrats are releasing Epstein photos showing Trump, Clinton, Andrew, Bannon, Bill Gates is in one of them, obviously, as well. Yeah, I mean, look, we kind of feel like we all... The one thing I will say about this is, like, it's intriguing, isn't it? Because any kind of picture like this just kind of, you just draw the eye. But is it telling us anything we don't already know at the moment?
I just tell you something about that picture of the person in the bath? It's not on a laptop, it's on a picture frame.
Oh.
It looks like. Can you see?
Oh, so he's got a framed picture of an unconscious girl on a sofa.
It looks like it might be one of those digital frames, you know, that you can. Oh yeah. You see what I mean?
Oh my
But
God.
you can't know from a photograph if somebody's unconscious or not. They may just have their eyes closed.
No, they're slumped across the couch. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Weird. Yeah.
Oh, that is a weird picture.
Yeah, but again, like, okay, we kind of know this about the guy, don't we? Like, he's obviously like a massive pervert who's into incredibly weird and illegal stuff.
It looks like it's an actual digital image rather than a formal photo frame. So whether it's one that goes through or maybe it is a formal photo, but there's no keyboard on that photo.
No, but look, yeah, I mean, so anyway, it's the latest kind of dump of, sinister-looking pictures of. They're obviously trying to build this thing about the relationship. I think in part anyway, specifically between Trump and Epstein, aren't they?
Well, they don't need to build it, do they? I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them joking and now what we don't know is whether it was incriminating in some way.
Well, the picture so far seems to be Trump with of age women at things like he did the beauty pageant stuff. Also seems to be him with like a woman at dinner and Epstein was there. So it's not. There's no like smoking gun with Trump when it comes to this stuff.
Epstein was incredibly wealthy. Royalty, politicians would have gravitated towards him. We know that Prince Andrew gravitated before him. The smoking gun is, did they stay in touch? Any of these people that are photographed after it was exposed what Epstein was like? If that's the case, then there's the smoking gun. But these, as tasteless as they might be, and I'm sure none of these characters will be thrilled that they're in these pictures, they're not incriminating other than with hindsight.
And don't you think if there had
Branson?
If there had been a smoking gun, it would have been delivered by now.
I would think so.
Unless Putin's got it.
Oh, great, another thing we can put with him.
Right, well, there we go. Well, that's some of the other big breaking news today. It has made the front of a couple of national newspapers. The Independent have published pictures on there. They'll have them inside the book as well, as have The Guardian. So there you go. Look, there's still a lot more for us to talk about because there's a lot about this flu vaccine and them saying that we should give it to children. The other angle to that story is, well, why have less than half of NHS staff taken it, apparently, if there's this tidal wave that's ripping through the NHS. But coming up, the head of the Met Police, Sir Mark Rowley, I wonder if he's put his foot in it a little bit.
Are you about to do the shoplifting story?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing that, because it's interesting.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's good. Anyway, so the head of the Met Police has kind of blamed shops for shoplifting. So we'll talk about that next.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update, brought to you from the Met Office. This weekend is going to be very wet for some northwestern areas. We do have yellow and amber warnings in force, but it will remain largely dry actually across southern and eastern areas. That's once this weather front clears away to the east through this evening. So after a bit of a cloudy afternoon, skies will clear this evening across the south and east, leaving much of the UK with clear, long-lived dry spells throughout tonight. It won't be entirely dry. Far northwest of Scotland, we'll see some showers across the north and west. Some of these could be heavy. And with clear skies across the UK, temperatures will fall away a little bit lower than they have done lately, so a slightly chillier night to come. A touch of frost to start the day across many southern areas, rurally in particular, but it will be a fairly bright start. Plenty of sunshine first thing on Saturday. However, there will be a few showers across the far northwest of Scotland. Elsewhere, though, plenty of sunshine. A bit of mist and fog around at first. That should clear quite quickly, however. And plenty of sunshine for Northern Ireland, Wales, as well as England. But you can see that mist and fog around. There will be a few pockets first thing. And I think the best of the more widespread sunshine will be Saturday morning, as we head towards Saturday lunchtime and into Sunday, this rain will spread in from the north and west, and it's going to linger through much of the weekend across northwestern areas. So we do have some quite long-lived warnings in force for parts of western Scotland, Northern Ireland, North Wales later on in the weekend, as well as northwestern England, Cumbria in particular. Further south and east, though, it's going to be actually a pretty dry weekend and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Saturday. But there is an amber warning in force for the likes of Cumbria for Sunday and into Monday. We could see in excess of 200 millimetres build up through the course of 48 hours or so. So with warnings in force, we are expecting disruption. Flooding is likely as well in some areas. So please stay tuned to the forecast. It does stay unsettled into next week as well. Bye-bye.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. So, yeah, more front pages to get through, including the head of the Met Police, I think, has put his foot in it by basically blaming shoplifting on the shops. But let's take you stateside now, because from midnight until 2 a.m, it's the wonderful Ben Leo with The Late Show live. And Ben is on to tell us what's coming up. Ben.
Hi mate, good to see you. Lots going on in the US and indeed some UK news we want to cover as well. First of all, in the UK, not sure if you've seen tonight, but Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, has said that he fears one of his Reform councillors somewhere, someday, will be killed by crazed protesters. It comes off the back of an incident, I think it was Staffordshire on Thursday night, where protesters stormed the council meeting, whacked councillors around the head. Anyway, off the back of that, I was contacted by a really talented young lady, Annie May O'Neill, who's Reform's councillor in Epping in Essex. She was on the tube the other day and she was abused by some absolute far-left nutcase calling her an effing Nazi and so on. So we're going to be talking about the violence of the far left, the threat to Reform councillors and MPs as well. And stateside, surprise, surprise, I was telling everybody this back in 2020, 2021. I wasn't the only one, it was obvious. But the director of Black Lives Matter from Oklahoma has been charged by the FBI for embezzling $3 million of donations into her bank account, going on luxurious holidays across the US Virgin Islands, buying lots of properties and so on. So when the likes of Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner were taking the knee for Black Lives Matter and BLM were rioting here in the States and they were taking down statues in the UK and stateside as well, well, sorry, you were all scammed, weren't you? So lots of that to come and lots more as well.
That, Ben, by the way, sorry, just quickly on that, is that my understanding was that BLM had published that manifesto, which was basically in large part a Marxist manifesto, and it was quite obvious that certain people in positions of power in BLM at that time were buying up huge properties in very, very expensive neighbourhoods. So, you know, the signs were there, and now that you're saying, yeah, it's not a great look, is it, Ben, that the head of BLM has been charged with this?
No, so there was an incident a few years back, a lady called Patrice Cullors, who was, she was done separately and she bought massive properties. I think it was in Malibu. She had 6 really nice sprawling houses, all funded from BLM donations. This lady is a separate lady, of course she is, from Oklahoma. They received $5.5 million worth of donations in Oklahoma since 2020, and she siphoned, allegedly accused, more than $3 million of it. As I said, luxurious holidays, living the life of Riley. So, yeah, Black Lives don't matter that much, it seems.
Well, gosh, I mean, that's an astonishing story. All right, well, I'll be tuning in, so I look forward to hearing more on that. It's Ben Leo there, who will be with you Late Show Live, midnight until 2 a.m. Let's drag it back here a little bit more, though, because the head of the Met Police is Sir Mark Rowley, and he's told shops and retailers that they need to do more to tackle shoplifting. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, Mark Rowley says that he has evidence of corrupt security staff acting in league with shoplifting gangs to help them steal from stores. He's also blamed shops for refusing to supply CCTV of the thieves being caught. What do we make of this? Because I don't know if this is the right thing from the head of the Met to do.
You know, when I first heard that he was blaming shops, it really irritated me because I hate this whole culture of putting everything behind security
Steak in a
glass
cage.
and
Steak in a cage.
steak in a cage, cheese in a cage, razor blades in a cage, all of this stuff, nonsense. I don't want to live in a society where everything's caged. I don't want bollards on bridges. But, however, I do think that this is what he's saying here is quite fair.
Right.
Because what he's saying is, look, we have tried to step up. A couple of years ago, you were right to criticise us. We've tried to step up and do a bit more. However, when we do catch people, you're not supplying the video to verify them against other crimes that we found people for, but also you're not allowing your staff to go to court to testify so that we can get a prosecution. So fine, have a go at us if we're not turning up, but when we do turn up, you've got to help us. And that's what he's saying here, which I think, if that is true, that is fair.
OK, Linda, your view?
I think on what I'm really encouraged by, because I noticed the shoplifting in my town. I went in to buy some face cream at a well-known chemist, and
you don't need it, darling.
Oh, no, thank you so much.
Well done, quick off the mark.
Thank you very much.
Right. We can't believe it.
I went in to buy it, and I said to the shop assistant, "There's nothing left on the shelf," and she said, well, someone came in this morning, picked up a wire basket, swept it all off into a wire basket, and then just walked out. But what I will say is, I don't know what the shops can do, but one thing has worked in my town. They've got policemen on the beat.
Well, yes, I mean...
regularly on the beat, and they're in twos, they're around the park, they're up and down the high street, and they say hello, and we have a chat to them and everything else. It's like returning to the days of yore.
They're searching for someone with incredibly good skin now, looking very, very young.
Carrying a metal basket.
Carrying a metal basket, yeah.
Look, but dare I say it, this is going back to, do you remember the early days of the Labour government in '97, putting bobbies back on the beat, making sure that you had community neighbourhood schemes where you had a sergeant, 2 constables and 3 PCSOs, all designated to your local neighbourhood, and they couldn't be taken away to do other duties, right? They were only for that.
OK, right, listen, I mean, you know, love you and everything, but bearing in mind shoplifting across England and Wales is rising, and it's gone up by 13% year on year to June. I don't think that you could be breaking out the Labour bunting yet.
No, what I'm saying... Krista, what I'm saying is those were the days back in the early 2000s when we rolled out that safer neighbourhood. I was agreeing with Linda because she's right. You put people
they're not getting more prosecutions. They're not getting more prosecutions now because of Labour. That's what I'm saying.
No, they're preventing it.
Yes,
what we need now is we need more police on the beat doing that. But I think a lot of my shopkeepers are going to be pretty cross to be told that it's their fault because... you know, they have a network in Wembley where they tell each other what's going on if they think that somebody's coming in, you know, gangs are trying to take liquor off the shelves and so on, and they warn each other. And that's really important because that's the community working together to stop them.
And also, there are a number of, like, fillet steaks, ribeye steaks, you know, that are stolen. I mean, it sounded ludicrous to me when I first heard it, but they're all sold onto restaurants. I mean, surely those restaurants need to do something about it.
Also, by the way, the fines and sanctions for shoplifting are up by 82%, but the Met still has the lowest detection rate in England and Wales, 9% of cases.
Right. Can I also just say, and this is a plea for people who, like, run Tesco Express and places like that, when I go in there, which is actually most evenings on my way back from work, I am pretty disgusted by what I see, which is that often, and it was just in my local one, there are some quite big, burly men who work there behind the counter, behind the tills, and one of the security guards that they use is like the smallest woman I've ever seen in my life, right? Seriously. And
how much are you getting away with stealing?
Right, yeah, but this is the point. Anyone could steal everything, and they have a shoplifting quota. So some nights I go and it's shut because they have had too much shoplifting that day.
That's awful.
It's awful, and it's not enough to stick a body cam on this tiny lady, bless her, who you told to stand by the door like this, as big blokes come in, nick everything and come off. She can't do anything.
But is that like, again, is this DEI? I mean, is this like we've got to hire this person because they are...
What it is it's stupid.
Surely you'd want a security guard to be...
You want big burly... I'm sorry, there's certain things you just shouldn't mess about with, right? If you're a security person, you know, I do think, in my view anyway, there should be, you know, a big burly bloke more often than not. But anyway, can we just whiz ourselves on quickly, because I do want to talk quickly about the Weekend's front page. right? So the Eye Weekend goes, urgent NHS drive to give children the flu vaccine before Christmas. Schools with the lowest uptake among pupils are set to get snap visits before the term ends. Low vaccination rates are helping the spread despite pharmacies stocking plenty of jabs. Flu rates are highest among school children. So the logic behind this, I think, is that the kids get the flu, the kids are basically ill but all right, but then they go and they give that flu to their elderly relatives. But that is slightly countered by a story that is in the Times, which is less than half of NHS staff have got the flu jab, despite this tidal wave. So,
but if you've vaccinated all the elderly or vulnerable people, it doesn't matter that you've got kids. They're little germ factories.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're running around because they can't infect.
And actually, if you look at last
vaccinated.
year, the deaths of children, 0 to 4, there were only 8 deaths from flu,
tiny, I know.
and 5 to 14 years of age, there were only 11 deaths. So really, the whole of your primary school education, really almost up until your GCSEs, you're very unlikely to suffer seriously from it.
You know, I'm sort of pro-vaccine conversations, but the thing is, though, that a lot of older people, from what I understand, so I look at my parents, when they had the flu jab, they were incredibly ill. They really made them sick. And I wonder whether the older people who aren't taking it up, like especially NHS staff, they're working so hard, they don't want them. But if you did it with children, well, they're not going to be affected so much by it.
I don't know. My mum had one every year. She was never sick. But I think that the other part of the thing you raised was the staff. Why is the vaccine rate so low in staff? But what do you do about that? Because they're in hospitals and less than half of them are having it. You can't force them to have a vaccine.
Well, but during COVID...
They did during COVID.
They did, but you can't...
People lost their jobs over that.
And that was wrong, I think.
Absolutely.
But we're not in a pandemic now. So what do we do about it?
But I think that we're seeing as well, perhaps not among NHS staff, but because of the heavy-handed way the vaccines were dealt with during the pandemic, I think that's why vaccine take-up now is more cynical among people.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think there's something in that about the less than half of NHS staff getting the flu jab despite this virus tidal wave. You know, not all, a lot of the front pages yesterday were all about NHS on the brink of collapse, you know, please watch out because... And you think, OK...
So why haven't you
had it? You know, if it's that, I appreciate... And that makes me wonder where these messages about the NHS are coming from, right? Is that actually what most people working in the NHS believe? Do they believe that they are on the brink of collapse over the flu virus? I don't know. It would surprise me if they believed that, given the lack of uptake when it came to the injections. But anyway, vaccines, but anyway, whatever, yeah.
There are common side effects like soreness, redness, raised temperature, aching muscles, body aches. You don't get the flu, but some people get it. And I wonder if you're working in the NHS, that kind of environment, you're just like, well, I want to feel my best. Yeah. I wonder if that's a reason. I don't know.
All right. Well, more news for you in about 2 minutes' time.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
After some recent downpours, the eastern Mediterranean is turning a lot drier and brighter through the weekend. Meanwhile, off the west coast of Africa, some rain will be drifting southwards, so it could be quite showery in the Canaries on Saturday. Some showers also likely over the Balearics, particularly for Ibiza. Largely fine for Italy and some sunshine returning to Greece, although with the breeze coming down from the north, it'll stay fairly cool here. We should see the sunny skies returning to Tenerife through Sunday and Monday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back. Let's round up Saturday's newspaper front pages. This is the Times, and Christo has noticed an interesting story on the front of the Times in relation to Jamie Oliver.
Yes, he has come up with, apparently, a stress-free Christmas lunch, because there is such a thing.
No, there's not.
He's revealed his deliciously easy recipes for turkeys, potatoes, sprouts, and a vegetarian side, which can all be prepped the day before. You just stick it in the oven that day, and then it's all fine, which is obviously complete and utter nonsense.
No, but doing the potatoes ahead of time, he advises, and
yeah,
that is a really good idea.
A couple of things, and blanch the sprouts and things like that. But apparently, according to us chefs, cooking turkey gets better and better each year. I think I found the best way to make it fuss-free. You can get all the prep ticked off in advance of the big day, cook the legs, get the crown oven ready on Christmas Eve, whack it all in the oven Christmas morning.
God.
Job done. As if that's job done.
That's 3 days of cooking.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just nonsense.
Because it might be stress-free for an hour on Christmas Day.
Hang on, Christo.
Yes.
Do you remember that recipe that he had for roast potatoes? And it was with lashings of salt, lashings of rosemary.
Oh, yes.
He did it with and I've never cooked a roast potato without doing it that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, he's very good at that.
They were amazing.
Semolina's
I twice and thrice cook my roast potatoes. I take them out, cool them, and then recook them.
But he also uses goose fat, which my wife won't have.
Can I show you? This is the stress-free. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. This is the stress-free. But you see how much text there is here of instructions that he's giving you to make it stress-free. It's just a wall of words. And we're only up to point number 4. And
the thing is, he's got to keep coming out with new recipes each year, because otherwise we'll just stick with the old ones that he
I've never forgiven him for ruining school dinners. Oh, seriously. I mean, was it? I used to like a turkey twizzler. There was nothing wrong with a turkey twizzler of mine.
Oh, yes, there was.
No.
Oh, yes, there was.
Have you seen the funny clip of Jamie Oliver as well, where he goes into a school?
That's right.
He's like mashes up. He's got chicken and bone and gristle and all of that, and he puts it in a blender and he makes a patty out of it, and then he goes, right, that's a chicken nugget. Who would eat this? And all the kids go,
yeah. I don't know, why do you want to twizzle your turkey?
Well, and what about the
it was
mothers?
nice.
What about the mothers that went to the school fence and started pushing through fish and chips to the little kids?
Well, yes, I mean, that's
I'm sorry,
probably a bit
school
extreme.
is one place where you should. If we're having to give out free breakfasts and free lunches to most of the population in order to make them state dependent and not have any responsibility over their own children whatsoever, then can we not at least give them healthy food, please?
Yes. Yeah, no, it's...
I'm glad you advocate for everything I've said there,
That
Barry.
is important, yeah.
Yeah.
We're basically raising...
But it's very difficult to do because when I was a little girl, there used to be a kitchen in the school and they used to cook all the food. The problem now is it's all centralised cooking and it all gets overheated and it's prepared and
I wasn't allowed. I used to have a separate lunch.
Is that because you got Greek parents?
Because I was so fat that my mother colluded with the dinner ladies that I wasn't allowed to go for school lunches. I had to have a separate salad that was prepared for me separately.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
And
I thought it was the Greek. I thought it was the Greek mum thing, which is like obviously I had Greek grandparents as well. But
don't you knock his mum? I've met his mum and she's gorgeous.
She's lovely.
True, but she's quite
lovely.
overbearing. I turned up for my first day at school, and my mother was there as dinner lady, and she hadn't told me, so I thought I was getting away from her for the first time, and she was there.
Oh my gosh, that is classic. Right. Thank you very much. Really good stint from all of you here. I hope you all have a lovely weekend as well, everybody watching and listening. It's over to Ben Leo now with The Late Show Live. So take it away, Ben.
Thank you, Patrick. Tonight on The Late Show Live. He wants to legalise heroin and crack cocaine. Zach Polanski wants illegal migrants to work in the NHS and the care sector. Would you trust a random Afghan man with your mum or granny in a hospital ward? Elsewhere, Black Lives Matter have been accused of being on the scam again. $3 million buying holidays and properties. Who'd have thought? Back in a tick.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country. Well, it's just about time to say goodbye from me for the week here in London. All of tomorrow's newspaper front pages are leading with the King, or today's newspaper front pages even, are leading with the King, and the announcement there that he is having his cancer treatment scaled back. So good news from the King. But Ben, it's over to you now. You've got lots on.